All right, Jason. So got some lightweight action to talk about. Kevin Lee is fighting Gregor Gillespie. So who you got?
I, I, I'm fascinated on why, and I hope to ask him why Kevin Lee just gave up on welterweight so quickly. Like one fight at welterweight and back down to lightweight. And we all know the struggles he had at lightweight with making weight and all these things. Like on a skills gifted level, Lee is always a guy I always think highly of and thinks has great ability can compete with anybody, but he never seems to have smoothed out the rough edges of his style and grown to another level. Maybe that's a camp thing, maybe that's a maturity thing. The guy's only 27. He's been in the promotion for 6 years, only 27 years old. And I just feel like Gregor Gillespie's calling card is that wrestling. I was looking it up earlier. He averages 7 takedowns a fight, 7 in the UFC, and he averages 62% of his strikes landed are on the ground. This guy is going to take you down. He's going to beat you up and pummel you. And what's fascinating about this is that yeah, that seems to go really towards Gregor. And if Lee has often sometimes had cardio issues, it seems like in some of his fights. But then again, Kevin Lee is a damn good grappler. He can grapple. He's got a lot of submission wins. Like has Gregor Gillespie, as good as his wrestling is, has he faced a Kevin Lee caliber wrestler in the UFC yet? And I'm not sure. Or even just a Kevin Lee level grappler and submissions and not even just wrestling alone. So that's what makes this fight so fascinating. These, can Gillespie take it to the next level against a real big name? And can Kevin Lee go back down to the lightweight and prove that he's still legitimate, he's still relevant, and derail one of the top young rising prospects in the division? With that said, my gut will always lean to strong, durable, tough wrestling. And Greg Gillespie has shown that. I think Kevin Lee just has a weird penchant to be completely unpredictable, and you never show what you're going to get out of him. If he won and somehow knocked him out, I wouldn't be surprised because he's gifted like that. But if my gut, I can't go with unpredictability. Even the odds makers are actually picking Gillespie. He's the favorite going to this fight, which is fascinating too. So I'm going to go with Gregor Gillespie. I think he's going to grind around, use that wrestling, but I think he'll get a scare, and I think there'll be some interesting moments for sure. I don't think it'll be a dominant win whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm liking the direction you're going with this. I don't think either man goes out there and steamrolls the other, and I'm leaning toward Gregor Gillespie, but I'm doing that with a lot of hesitance, and that's mainly because a lot of the issues that you point out with Kevin Lee, as far as kind of his growth stagnating at a certain point,
Yeah.
and he kind of falling into the same traps that he has habitually done. I mean, he has had that camp change now, and now he's part of TriStar with
That's true. Yeah, yeah.
Faraz Sahabi, but he's only recently joined that camp. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, the Joe Rogan Experience appearance that he made was where the bug was planted in his head to check out TriStar. And he went there, and this was only a few months ago. I mean, he was last seen in the Rafael dos Anjos fight in May. That's not a lot of time to totally revamp your style. That's not a lot of time to fill in a lot of the gaps
Yeah.
in your game. But the thing is, though, at least in that Dos Anjos fight, and I'll even say for the Ala Quinta fight, um, it wasn't like he was outclassed. It
Yeah.
wasn't like he was outskilled. It was just bad decision making. It was against Dos Anjos going for that takedown and just selling your soul for that takedown that doesn't land successfully, and wasting every bit of your energy just going for that takedown and going for that takedown and being so dogmatically stuck on it. I don't think he makes those mistakes under Faraz, but still, the weight class change is what gives me a moment of pause. I do think Kevin Lee has what it takes to successfully compete at lightweight and stay there and be healthy. I think he does. I think it's some things in his camp that can change, and perhaps those things do change, but it's still difficult for me to say that one training camp, new training camp in your first fight there, that now all of a sudden
Yeah.
you're going to excel in the weight discipline, in the technique, in the decision making, in the fight IQ. Like that's kind of giving me some pause. The only time I can think of off the top of my head where a guy looked like a totally different fighter coming off of his first fight from a new camp was Khalil Roundtree against Eric Anders. When
Yeah.
he came back from Tiger Muay Thai and he looked like a totally different guy. I don't see that moment happening. I'm reluctantly picking Gregor Gillespie right now. Once again, maybe when the staff picks time to do that, maybe that'll change. But I'm reluctantly picking Gregor Gillespie because he has at least been consistent. Granted, this is a huge step up in competition.
Yeah.
Yancy Medeiros and Kevin Lee are way different when it comes to skill set and what they mean to the divisions that they fight in. But yeah, Gregor Gillespie has the consistency. He has a style that even if you are a good grappler, you can succumb to. And if you're someone who's had conditioning issues in the past, you don't want to fight a guy like Gregor. So I say he wins a pretty hard fought decision.